Happy Earth Day. This is Angela with Park Coast Permaculture. I thought, what better way to say thank you to all my new subscribers and my new patrons on my Patreon than to do a tour of my permaculture garden here in Portland, Oregon on Earth Day. So I'm going to take you around and show you a little bit of the things that are gorgeous, lush, in bloom, abundant, the things that are just emerging, as well as things that maybe are imperfect because we have to do permaculture in the real world. Show you the mess and the chaos of trying to do permaculture with 4 kids and 2 dogs in the city with airplane noise and lots of busyness in my schedule and many projects that are in various stages of completion, and show you what it's really like here this time of year. So let me give you a tour around, and each of these areas of the garden that I'm going to show today, I will be doing a much more in-depth video on all of them later in the year, in June, when they are at their peak, when they are really coming into their own. But let's see what it looks like to have real-life permaculture here in Portland, Oregon in late April on Earth Day. Early in April, many of my herbaceous perennials are just coming up and are quite small. However, the lilacs are in full bloom, looking absolutely stunning. Both of my lilacs here in the front yard I purchased at the Hulda Klager Lilac Garden, which is the world's largest collection of lilac varieties. I'm actually going to be going there tomorrow, and I'll be making a video to show you about that fantastic collection of rare and unusual lilacs. This one I particularly love. Her blossoms are enormous. This columbine volunteered in my front yard. It is gorgeous and super tall. It lives underneath my methylae plum tree, which is the largest plum tree that I have. Moving back through the front yard, I have feijoa and a native clove currant, also called a crandall currant, which smells amazing, spicy and sweet. I have another one up by the front door because I enjoy the smell of it so much. I have multiple dwarf serviceberries, which are bred for extra large and tasty fruit, and behind them, one of my bush cherries. This is a Juliet, and she is loaded with blossoms, and I anticipate a good fruit set this year. Underneath, I have many herbaceous perennials, including some of my comfrey, which are just coming up. My pawpaws are still in flower, but my peaches have already set fruit. This is an Oregon curl-free peach. My Stanley plum produces faithfully year after year. Here you can see my greenhouse foundation I'm slowly working on, and the bush cherry and plum guilds in my front yard. This pink champagne currant is loaded with blossoms. A little Nikita's Gift persimmon sits right next to an apple guild, where I have Egyptian walking onions, chard, rhubarb just getting going that will fill in the whole area, native iris, comfrey, bloody sorrel, all under a Hudson's Golden Gem apple, which is our family's favorite variety. Aronia berry are in full bloom and attract hoverflies and bees alike. As we move into the shade garden, the gate is covered with Rosa Banksii. I absolutely love hardy geraniums, and this widow cranesbill does extremely well in full shade and has decadent, dark, purpley burgundy blossoms. Angelica archangelica thrives in this east-facing woodland garden. It's a gorgeous early perennial. Most of our gates are made out of pallets and repurposed material. Looking out into the backyard, you can see the fruit starting to set on my contorted mulberry, right next to my Bavay's green gage plum, which has little tiny plums starting to set all over it. In and behind the woodshed, Akebia equinata is in full bloom. Also called chocolate vine, it is one of my favorite shade-loving vines. Just in time for Earth Day, the first rose of the year in the garden. This is Cecile Brunner, a wonderful old rambling rose that is about to be exploding with blossoms. Look at all of the buds she has set this year, thanks to careful August pruning. Looking down through the chicken run, you can see the golden raspberries underneath my coppiced hazel tree. The rain garden won't come into its own until July or August. I got myself this blue boy clematis for my birthday this year. It eventually will cover the entire trellis. In the orchard by the chicken coop, all of the fruit trees from super dwarf to semi-dwarf are in bloom or have begun to set fruit already. Our shed is made of free scrounge stuff and doesn't quite fit my needs, and I would love to remake it. It's always a mess, but she is covered in a gorgeous rambling rose that will bloom in June and produce deeply ruffled magenta blossoms of a peony type rose. Absolutely love this rose, even though she's a little bit prone to bud blast when the weather is rainy. This lilac I took as a cutting from a bank parking lot years ago, and she helps support a trellis of Valkenblau rose, which will be blooming once later in June, and nicely frames the vegetable patch behind it. I love my Cydonia quince. They will produce huge crops of delicious fruit in October. Gummy berries produce gobs of blossoms that the bees and hummers absolutely love. Thank you so much to all my new subscribers and my new patrons. Thank you everybody who is interested in permaculture and regenerative living and saving the planet and making this a abundant and joyful place for all people. I hope that you got something out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please let me know what kind of content you are interested in seeing. If there was anything you saw in this video that you want me to touch on in more detail, please let me know in the comments, and I will definitely put it on my list of videos upcoming. So thank you again. Hope you have a wonderful Earth Day, and I'll be back.